Welcome back everyone for another LEGO alternative set review. This is the Ghost Ship Flying Dutchman by JMBricklayer and it's set number 40001. It comes with 1100 pieces, 0 minifigures, 1 lighting kit, and retails for $59.99 on Amazon or the JMBricklayer site. They also sell a variety of pirate themed sets, including a Royal Fleet ship that I'm eyeing up for my personal collection, and another Dutchman replica that is more movie accurate to Pirates of the Caribbean. One thing before we jump in, this video isn't sponsored, but the JMBricklayer team did give me a big discount so I could review this set, so I just wanted to say thank you to them for that discount.
The first great thing about this set is that it comes with a box and a hard copy of the instructions. The other alternative sets that I've built haven't come with boxes or instructions, just in loose leaf bags and with PDF links to the instructions. There's something about a box and instructions that just makes it feel more authentic and legit. The box artwork is also really well designed and I think it showcases the ship nicely. After breaking open the box, I was pleasantly surprised to find that it had labeled bags and that we'd be following the bag order in the build. This is much nicer than spending extra time sorting the pieces out or digging through a massive pile to build. The building experience was quite enjoyable for the most part. There were some really fun techniques that were used, like the ball joints for the front of the ship. The instructions are clear and easy to follow with no confusing parts. It was nice to have the actual size reference for some of the Technic rods too, so that way you could use the right piece and not just eyeball it. It took me around 3 hours to finish the build and I honestly could have done this faster, but I was building on my tiny desk and didn't have as much room to spread things out as I would have liked. The one thing that really sucked about this building experience was that you really had to push hard to get the pieces to connect, so your fingers started hurting pretty quickly. Towards the end of the build, my fingers felt horrible and I was quite relieved to complete it. The pieces were also really hard to separate, even with the brick separator, so try not to make any mistakes when you're putting it together because taking it apart is a pain. The overall build quality of this set was relatively mixed for me. It was pretty sturdy in the frame, but the detail pieces were pretty fragile. There's a lot of techniques in this build that make it look really cool, but aren't necessarily conducive for strength and stability. For instance, the horn in the front, it has a lot of 1x1 to 1x1 stud attachments, and that isn't necessarily the best thing in terms of strength of the build, so anytime you pick it up, it usually falls off. Another instance of this is the cannons on the inside. They also have a single stud attachment, and they fall apart really easily as well. The annoying thing about those is when they fall apart, it's almost impossible to get them back upright and attached to the studs, and you really can't get into the hull area really easily. That whole interior, you have to almost take apart the entire build, and they're very easy to knock out of place, which is pretty annoying. So I spent a lot of time when I accidentally knocked a couple of them off and then I was trying to get them back attached. Luckily, I hadn't fully finished the hull and the detail pieces on the top, so I was able to just pop it open and put them back. Another instance of this is the big coral reef thing in the back. That also was pretty fragile and falls off pretty easily. The one positive thing though is since the pieces are super grippy, the actual hull is pretty solid and doesn't fall apart at all. You can grab the hull, as long as you're not grabbing it like by the cannon area, you can grab the hull, pick it up, and it's quite secure and very sturdy. The appearance of this build is pretty awesome. I think that it looks great on display, especially since you have the lighting kit too. I love the colors, and I'm really disappointed that I was missing one of the lighting pieces to light up the interior of the hull. I'm going to reach out to the JMBricklayer team and get that replacement. I'm sure they're going to send me the right replacement piece because I know they have great customer service. Obviously, that means I'm going to have to tear apart the ship entirely to get into the hull, so that's going to be a pain. But I think it's going to be worth it because the lighting in this set is pretty awesome. Another thing I love about the final appearance is that it really gives you that creepy and eerie feel of the Flying Dutchman, and it reminds me a lot of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I know that it's technically not supposed to be that since licensing issues and such, but they definitely did model it a little bit off of the Flying Dutchman from the movies, and it definitely captures that barnacle eerie ghost ship feel, and it's appropriately named the Ghost Ship Flying Dutchman. Another awesome part of that is the tattered sail pieces. I love the detail in that and how they're torn and worn. It just adds an extra level of detail to the build that looks really great on display. Like I said, in the building experience, there's a lot of really cool techniques that bring life to this set and add a nice level of detail for the final appearance. I'm a fan of the ball joint pieces in the bow of the ship to really give that broken down feel. I like the lanterns hanging from the crow's nest, and I like the rope hanging from the mast and going across the sails too. I think that is another really awesome level of detail in this set. There's a few things I wasn't a huge fan of for the final appearance. the one thing that really drove me nuts was the fire is so close to the sail. And that could just be me being an absolute stickler for detail, but that just doesn't seem like a good idea to me to have an open flame burning right under your sail. I also wasn't a huge fan of the sticker that ran across the length of the hull and how it was going over multiple pieces. That's never a good thing, in my opinion, to have a sticker covering multiple pieces. It would have been nice to have some brick built detail there or printed pieces rather than having a sticker cover multiple pieces. The biggest thing for me though is this build really couldn't determine what scale it wanted to be in. It was jumping around from minifigure scale to playset scale to UCS scale to miniature scale, and it really just couldn't stay in one scale, and that drove me nuts. If you're not displaying it with minifigures, you're really not going to notice as much, and obviously I'm not displaying it with minifigures, but I got a nice close-up view as I'm looking and building, and just jumping around from the different scale to scale was definitely annoying me. In terms of playability of this set, it's pretty much zero. It was meant to be displayed, and you can tell that. You don't want to move it around too much because you don't want to snap the lighting kit wires. Also, the stern and the bow of the ship are pretty fragile and fall off if you move it around too much, as well as the cannons lining the hull. So yeah, I would give this a 0 for playability. It's not meant to be played with, and it does meet its required function of being displayed, and it does look really nice on display, but there aren't any playable features on this set. If I had to give this set a final letter grade, I would give it a B-. It did a lot of things well, but it didn't do a lot of things great.
I really enjoyed the set, and there was a lot of nice techniques and pieces used, but there were some flaws that brought the letter grade down for me. This set looks great on display, and I really appreciated some of those techniques that were used. Like I said, I like the ball joints and how they form the front, and it gives that broken down look. I like the use of the flexible pipe tubing to create that bendable staircase feel. Where it lost points for me was the pieces that hurt your fingers as you're trying to assemble it. That's never a good feeling when you're building a set. I also feel like the designer couldn't determine what scale they wanted to be in. It felt like it jumped in and out of different scales. Like some parts felt more miniature scale, other parts felt more UCS-ish scale, and then some parts felt like playset scale. So it was like all bouncing all around. If you're looking at the crow's nest, it's too small for minifigure or playset scale. The deck is too narrow to be playset or minifigure scale, in my opinion. So I think that the design just isn't well thought out in that regard. And granted, this is meant to be a display set, and it's pretty obvious with the lighting kit and the way that it's designed and built and just how things kind of are a little fragile. So it's not really meant to be played with, but I feel like even if I'm displaying something, I want it to be in scale, and it just wasn't. And so it lost a lot of points for me there. But I would have appreciated minifigures in this set. I understand why there aren't, just because of licensing issues. And JMBricklayer doesn't do any minifigures in any of their sets. I'm not sure why. I have to inquire about that. But yeah, that would have been a nice touch. It was nice to have the lighting kit added in. I did snap one or two of the wires, which is a pain. I was trying my hardest not to do that, but you know, lighting kits are very fragile, and that just happens. That wasn't any fault of JMBricklayer. That was just user error on my end. Despite these flaws, it's a great looking set, and it's going to look great on display on my shelf. I'm pretty excited to put it on display. If you want to purchase this set for your personal collection, the JMBricklayer team has given me a discount code for you guys, so you can find that in the description below. Thanks for watching, everyone. As always, you guys are the best. I appreciate you so much. We're going to wait one more week for the ARC Trooper Jesse giveaway. There's still time to enter. You can find that giveaway information in my latest video linked here. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so. You're not going to want to miss what's coming up next. I have a pretty awesome fantasy set that I'm reviewing next week, so make sure that you're subscribed. Hit that like button on this video and leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the JMBricklayer Ghost Ship. I'll catch you guys next week.